2 years ago, a couple of hooded youths came down my driveway and tried to steal my wife's Vespa. And that was the moment that I started to do a little research into home security systems as basically as a deterrent, but also just in case the worst actually happened. So when aosu reached out to me and said they wanted to send me a system that could give me whole home coverage, had amazing advanced AI features and a load of things that I quite frankly didn't even understand or hadn't experienced before, I said, sure, send it over. I'll give it a test and then I'll produce a quick video giving my initial impressions. And then later on, after I've given it a good 6 months or so, then I can produce a real solid verdict on whether I would recommend this product. So you can see I've got one up there. Roll a little bit of footage and let me get the rest of these set up. So if you want to see my long-term verdict of what I think of these and how they're working out for me, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the conclusion of the long-term test of this system. Of course, I'll make sure that I get a discount code for you, the viewers, from aosu, so that if you're interested in this device or any of their other products, you will be able to get the very best deal at this time of the year by using those discount codes that are below in the description box. I want to jump straight into this by showing you some samples of the night vision ability of this camera, because I think this must be the top selling point of these cameras compared to anything else I've used. Now, I don't know what hardware or what algorithms or software is behind this, the processing, but if you have a look at these 3 image samples, the top left is from my smartphone, and that's with the night mode on, and my smartphone actually does a really good job with night mode visions. It's the last generation, so a 2025 model OnePlus phone, and the camera on it is decent. The bottom left one is from the aosu camera with the flashlight on, with the LED like floodlight switched on, and the one on the right is what they call like their covert or stealth mode, and that is just night vision but colorized. And I have no idea how the camera is doing that, but it looks like total daylight. And if you look at the timestamps, you can see they were all taken 7 a.m. this morning. It was basically pitch black outside still. And this is the back of my house where there's no street lights, there's no other light pollution, and there were no lights on in the back part of the property. So this is a completely dark sample. I cannot believe how good this is. This is real-time footage that gives you a proper example of what these are like to set up. If you have a screwdriver, you can put these cameras up because you don't have to run any cables to them. No experience or qualifications needed. The solar panels have extension cables. If for some reason you need to mount these cameras under your eaves and they're in a shaded area, they have a 2-meter extension cable so you can mount the solar panel somewhere else. All you need is 2 screws to mount that solar panel wherever you want it to go. Super simple, and the app is just as simple. Let's take a look at where I've mounted the hardware, and then we'll get digging into the app because that's really where we're going to see the magic. So first of all, you can see this one that we've popped up here, and you can see it's tracking me, even though I've got a camera in front of my face, and it does that very well. It can move down a bit, and it can move up a bit. It's very good at following me, and the blue light is on, which shows that it's monitoring me. And if we take a closer look from the top, the green light is showing that there is enough energy being captured by that solar panel to charge. Even though that's some really thick clouds, the rest of my solar panels are not doing well today. So that's camera 1, covering most of the back garden. Got camera 2 set up here, and I've set the default mode, which covers the side alley of my house, and that will lock onto me. There you go, blue light is on. At the front here, popped 2 of them in very visible locations because these are meant to serve hopefully mostly as a deterrent, and then secondary as a warning system and if any footage was required by the authorities. So I've got one on my front left here, and because of that being able to motorize 360 degrees, that can follow all the way down the sidewalk of the house, but it can also cover the front garden area nicely. And we've popped the same on the other end here, so I've got one at the front right of the property and at the front left of the property. And at the moment I've just mounted all the solar panels directly on the top. We'll see how that goes, and we may need to use one of the extensions and just pop that solar panel up where there's going to be less shading from this area. Following us once again, it's very good at the motion tracking. I'm very impressed with the motion tracking. On the devices themselves, we've got this, so we've got the camera lens. This looks like a PIR sensor. This one is a spotlight, like an LED. And then I'm not exactly sure what the third part of it is. The hardware, I'm very impressed with the hardware. It's very solid, very well made. All fits together lovely. Nice waterproof gasket on the cable. Cannot fault the hardware one bit. It's got a speaker on it as well, so you can sound an alarm if you need to scare people off. Okay, so certainly no doubts on the hardware. Let's go and have a little look at the software now. So as this video is just meant to be a quick initial look, you'll see it online. There's a complete itemized list of these kits. Of course, I've gone for the 4 T2 Ultra 4K motion tracking cameras, and they're solar powered, wireless, completely DIY friendly, no physical cables, and it comes with the aosu Cortex. Now this is where all the AI processing happens. This is where the video is stored, and it means that you don't need to use an online subscription to get some pretty fancy functions and features and functionality. We're going to talk a little bit about the night vision on these cameras, because that is one thing that straight away on the first night completely blew me away. I can't believe how well these see in the dark. Much better than I can with my 2 eyes. Is there anything else I'm missing? Oh yeah, you can use it as like an intercom system. There's 2-way talk, so there's microphones on the cameras, loudspeaker on the cameras, so you can talk through your phone to anyone that is in sight and in range of each of those cameras. These are the USB extension cables that I said to you before, and each of them has got waterproof gaskets on there. No idea how well the camera will pick that up, but that's a 2-meter extension, and you get 4 of those, so 1 for each camera. These could also come in handy if your camera's in a spot where it's not going to get enough daylight, or it's in a high traffic area where potentially the solar panel won't give you quite enough energy to power it. You can easily reach one of these up, plug it in, and just let it power up from an actual power source or a power bank or something for a couple of hours once a week, and then it can obviously top up your battery. Of course, it comes with all sorts of mounting brackets and screws and everything else that you need. It all comes really nicely packaged in one box. The aosu Cortex module, you can fit a hard drive, so I think you can store something like 16 terabytes if you put the correct hard drive in this unit. I think out of the box it gives you 32 gigabytes of storage just as an entry, just to get you started with the system. And of course you could pay for then cloud storage and you know, other services if you wanted to go down that option of the subscription model. For me, local storage, local control, that's very important to me. So this little aosu Cortex addition to the system is critical. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the app because I still haven't mastered all of this. I've just had the kit for a few days. Like I said, this is an initial impressions video. Straight away on the homepage, you can see today's security report: 23 people detected, 2 vehicle events and 3 alarm events. I'll explain what those were in a little bit. If I click on the first button, view multicams, then it will give me a live feed from all of the devices. And you can see even the ones that are far away from my Wi-Fi are giving straight away quite a good clear picture, instantly, quite responsive. And we can then tap into each of them. Then we get manual motion control, and we get all of the settings along here. We can manually turn on the light on it. We can hit record. We can talk to the person, etc., etc. All of that functionality. And you can see the kind of field of view that you get, which is quite good. You can see that, of course, those two cameras at the front of my property give me full coverage. In the center of my house, as you've seen in the previous videos, I do have a doorbell camera, which gives me that center view as well. So we've then got the smart security button, so we can quickly put it into various different modes to activate, deactivate, etc. So very quick and very simple to do that. Then we've got the 5 devices themselves. On there, it's showing me the Wi-Fi strength of each of the cameras. So I've got full bars, then I've got 3 bars, full, and 3 bars. And it also tells me the battery percentage. So in the instructions, it says take the cameras out, charge them up to 100%. I didn't have time for any of that. I needed to get them out, get them up, and start using them and testing them to get this video out before the end of the year. So out of the box and with them plugged into the solar charging panels, you can see that we're at 59%, 72%, 78% and 52%. And I will be monitoring to see how they do. It's winter solstice right now, so it's the worst time for solar charging. And also, the kids are off school and they're running around the property all the time, as you'll see in a minute, really fully utilizing the battery capacity of these. So if these cameras can withstand the next couple of weeks of kids being off school during winter solstice, then those solar panels are sufficient and adequate for most people. Okay, down there we've got a little thing where it says home station. This is what aosu refers to as their Cortex little hub. There's also a lower range to this, a lower version. So you can get a cheaper version. It has less functionality, less of the AI features, for example. You can also, I should mention at this point, you can just buy a singular camera. You don't have to buy a full set like this. You could just buy one or just buy 2, and they still work perfectly with the app, and you still get a huge amount of functionality. You don't need to have 4. I believe with like their aosu Cortex device, you can use up to 8 cameras on one system. So very large properties, or even some light commercial use, fully completely adequate for that. If I click on the settings cog on the home station device, you can see it just verifies to us that all of the 4 devices are online. They're all communicating with my home station. It's on person management. I have only saved my face in there, so you can see there's 1 recognized person and then 100 unidentified people, friends, family, neighbors that it has already picked up. You can add your vehicles on there, and so that will give certain triggers. It will let you know when friend, family, or someone from the home has left the property or has arrived home, and then cross camera tracking as well, which has been very handy actually. We've had a couple of events where we've been tracked like 360 degrees around the whole house on all 4 cameras. And then the True Sight Intelligence is where it gives us a nice text description of the scene that the camera is seeing. And that has been one of the things that has blown me away, how accurate that is. I'm not sure exactly what kind of AI modeling they're using, but clearly it's quite sophisticated, more than I expected. There you can see the storage. We haven't yet added an external hard drive, so that's something I will be looking to do in the future. But so far we haven't used that much storage, considering these cameras have been running flat out. So then firmware updates, we did get a firmware update straight out of the box. And I wanted to show you on one of the cameras, for example, this is what it then looks like. You can have a look on the detection settings. At the moment, I've deactivated for vehicle and pet, and I've just put on the intelligent person identification so that I can program everyone's faces in there, and then it will give me an even more accurate text description in my notification bar. As we were just out there, let's have a little look at some of these tracking. If I go back, here's all the other settings, but I'll give you a second so you can see those. The important one when you install this, it runs you through. The software installation is super easy. If you've ever done any smart home stuff, this is about as easy as it gets. It really holds your hand. It just takes you one step at a time, one page at a time. There's no jargon, there's nothing difficult. Any person that can handle a smartphone can get this set up. And the default view was a little bit tricky at some points, but it's just the resting place that you want the camera to start from, and then it will start tracking someone from that location, and the camera will move through 360 degrees, but it's that initial setting. So it doesn't really matter how you mount the camera, the orientation of the mounting, you can still have someone tracked. And you can see on the battery management page, I don't have it on the power saving mode. I wanted to leave it on using the maximum battery power because I like to try and torture test these things. What I can do is if I click on today's security report, will give me a little overview, true site intelligence brief, and it gives me one of their AI things. Today's security report highlights several incidents. A man fell off a bike and damaged the car door. A boy threw sticks at a fence. Multiple individuals were seen walking with or repairing bicycles, often near trampolines and outdoor furniture. Several people carry packages or items from vehicles to houses or sheds. A woman and a man were observed carrying bags near a blue car. Various individuals walked along pathways, driveways and sidewalks, sometimes accompanied by dogs or children. That is very accurate and very descriptive, apart from one thing. One man fallen off a bike and damaged the car door. I did dismount the bike in the normal way that I do, and as I threw my leg over, the camera thought that I'd kicked the neighbour's door, but it wasn't actually true. So it has listed me with a camera in front of my face. It's listed me on the stranger list, and we can go through all of the key events, and it categorizes them under unusual activity and typical activity. And apparently me pointing a camera is typical activity, but it will also show trends through the different days, the type of events and what needs to be done. So if I click on the unusual activity, and then it will give me a blow-by-blow account, and it will show me the caption at the same time. So there you can see a man wearing a blue hoodie and shorts, that's me, retrieves a package from the side of the house. And that was this box, the aosu cameras. So perfectly describes it, and without me having to open up the app, without me having to look at a screenshot or the clip itself, I get that description in my drop down of my notifications. I've got a pretty good idea of what it's tracked. A person walks with a package from a white van on a driveway with parked cars. Yep, that looks like an Amazon delivery driver or something like that. A man on a bike falls onto the lawn. He gets up and kicks a car, damaging the door before leaving. Yeah, that was not exactly what happened. So this is just the unusual. On the red security alert, we haven't had any of those. If I go on to typical activity, then it will show all of those other events. Man shows a camera, lens and sensor. He points out the hardware and a waterproof gasket on the cable. And so in that instance, it's able to do all of this inference because it's actually recording me on the microphone. And that's how it knows what I'm actually doing in the scene. Very interesting. Man shows a small camera, then carries a box and cardboard along a brick and gravel path near a fence. Man takes video of himself holding a blue box in a backyard with trampoline and ladder. He walks on the patio. Yeah, as you can see, it's a very entertaining feature, but really it is a very useful feature. And it really helps to change some of the filters and change how many notifications you're getting. It's a very helpful system. Now, what I need to do, download a couple of these clips, edit it into the video so that you can see the real life quality of them, the sound quality and the video quality. And so you can judge for yourself. Mounted all the solar panels directly on top. We'll see how that goes, and we may need to use one of the extensions. Just pop that solar panel up where there's going to be less shading from this area. Following us once again. It's very good at the motion tracking. I'm very impressed with the motion tracking. On the devices themselves, we've got this, so we've got the camera lens. This looks like a PIR sensor. This one is a spotlight, like an LED. And then I'm not exactly sure what the third part of it is. The hardware, very impressed with the hardware. It's very solid, very well made. All fits together lovely. Nice waterproof gasket on the cable. Cannot fault the hardware. Thank you for watching. What do you think? Is this a yay or is this a nay? I'm absolutely impressed. The hardware stacks up. Got no issues with the hardware at all. The software is impressive. It does everything it needs to do and then some. It's got all of the functionality that I could think of, and then many features that I hadn't even really previously considered, to be honest. You know, on this channel I've used several other camera systems. A lot more of them, let's be fair, are more budget orientated than this. This one is more of a premium price, but it definitely delivers a much more premium experience compared to the other stuff. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Of course, as I mentioned at the beginning, there will be a long-term review of this that will come months down the line. Once I've really lived with it, once I've got under the skin of it, and if I discover any quirks along the way, I'll be sure to let you know. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Goodbye.